Before we start, you'll want to know what plate tectonics is. Plate tectonics is the theory that Earth's crust and part of the upper mantle are broken into sections called plates that move on a plastic-like layer of the mantle. There are two kinds of crust on the mantle. There are continental crust and oceanic crust. Continental crust is thicker and less dense, whereas oceanic crust is thinner and more dense. When oceanic and continental plates collide, the oceanic plate sinks beneath the less dense continental plate. As the plate moves down, molten rock forms and rises toward the surface, making volcanoes. This is called subduction. This happens because the oceanic plate is more dense than the continental plate and sinks below it, forcing the hot magma up. Convection currents is a cycle of heating, rising, cooling, and sinking. When you boil a pot of water, the water moves in a continuous circle cycle. The hot, less dense water will be forced to the top by the cooler, denser water. As the hot water reaches the top, it cools and sinks back down. The cycle then starts again until the heat is evenly distributed. The same thing happens in the mantle. This is thought to be the force of plate tectonics. A boundary is a place where two plates move together or apart. A divergent boundary is where the plates move apart. At the continental divergent boundary, the two continental plates move apart, leaving a rift valley. At these places, phenomena such as volcanoes, earthquakes, and mountains happen because of the shifting plates. An example of where this has happened is at the Great Rift Valley in Kenya. You can see right here where it started, and then it separated off, going out. At an oceanic divergent boundary, the two oceanic plates move apart, leaving a ridge. Volcanoes, earthquakes, and mountains also happen at these places. As a result from this, the Mid-Atlantic Ridge has formed. This is an underwater mountain range that cuts all the way where this red line is through Iceland, which is now separating Iceland. A convergent boundary is where plates come together. In an oceanic-oceanic collision, subduction happens. Things such as trenches and lines of volcanic islands occur here. Some phenomena that happens are volcanoes, earthquakes, and tsunamis. One place where this occurs is the Aleutian Islands. You can see where the islands have formed right here. In a continental-continental collision, the two plates come together and push up, creating mountains. Volcanoes can also happen at these places. The Himalayas were formed by continental plates coming together and pushing up, creating a mountain. In a continental-oceanic collision, subduction happens. As I said earlier when I was explaining subduction, the more dense plate goes beneath the continental plate. At these places, you would see mountains and volcanoes forming. You can see the convergent boundary right here, where the Juan de Fuca plate is colliding with the North American plate. At a transform boundary, plates slide past one another. Rifts happen at these. This usually results in an earthquake. At the San Andreas Fault, you can see where the plates have slid past and created a rift.